Director of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce. We are coming to you today live via Zoom, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and West Hartford Community Interactive Television. I would like to begin by recognizing the generosity of our sponsors who have made today's program possible. Our presenting sponsor, TD Bank, our gold sponsors, UHY Advisors, and the McCulley, part of the community. Our silver sponsors, America Kit. Would also like to thank our technology sponsor, Westfield Bank, and our media sponsor, 20 Media 20. I would like to remind you that there will be time for questions and answers at the end of the mayor's presentation. Simply put them in the chat and we'll get to as many as possible at the end. It goes without saying that much has changed since we were all last together last year at the Delamar. The ways we interact with each other, the ways we do business, the ways we educate our children have all changed. In spite of these massive disruptions, together we have adapted, adjusted, and largely figured it out. As the executive director of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce, I can honestly say I have never been prouder to lead our organization. Our businesses and nonprofit partners have proven to be resilient. They have all gotten creative in the ways they work together to support each other and as a result serve our community. Our citizens have been tireless in their determination to come together and keep West Hartford going. None of this would be possible without our town's leadership. Mayor Cantor, the town council, and the town staff have been both proactive and responsive in meeting the needs of our community. The partnership between the chamber and the town has never been stronger. Together, we bring valuable information and resources to our businesses and citizens. This relationship will only get stronger as we see ourselves through this pandemic. I will defer to Mayor Cantor as I know she's going to share a sneak peek into one such exciting new initiative. I would like to thank the chamber staff, Kate Cobes and Jesse Bouclier, who have worked tirelessly to support our members in so many ways. I would also like to thank Town Manager Matt Hart, Economic Development Coordinator Kristen Gorski, and the rest of the town staff for their support and partnership on a daily basis. I would like to close by acknowledging the Chamber's Board of Directors and Executive Committee who have made supporting our members and the community as a whole a #1 priority. Their guidance is second to none. It is now with great pleasure I introduce Chairperson of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce, Aimee Babich of Aimee Babich Realtor, Downsizing and Staging Consultant, and Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of New England.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. Thank you so much for the introduction, Chris. Welcome to everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here today. Over the past year, I have been inspired by the resilience of our town citizens and business community and the steps that our town has taken to support our people this year. I am immensely proud to be the chairperson of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce, which has been an active partner with the town in its efforts. I would like to thank all of our generous sponsors, including our presenting sponsor, TD Bank. I am very pleased to introduce Mike Labella, the Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Southeastern Massachusetts Commercial Market President for TD Bank, America's most convenient bank. Michael J. Labella serves as the Commercial Market President, and as Market President, he has leadership responsibilities over the Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Southeastern Massachusetts commercial banking market. Mike is a career banker with over 36 years in the industry. Mike has spent the past 14 years with TD Bank, having previously held leadership positions at Citibank and Bank of America. His experience also includes opening the de novo operations for Citi in Connecticut and Commerce Bank, now TD, and also acting as the liaison between Citi Commercial and the securities segment, Solomon Smith Barney. Mike previously held his Series 763 and Connecticut insurance licenses. Mike graduated from the University of Bridgeport with a BS in finance and holds an MBA from Sacred Heart University and completed Citibank's International Credit Training Program. He is a trustee for the University of Bridgeport, vice chair of the Connecticut Bankers Association, and holds additional board positions at the JobWorks and St. Catherine Academy. In 2018, Mike was awarded the NCCJ Human Relations Award in recognition of maintaining high standards of responsible leadership and his contributions for promoting understanding, respect, and cooperation in our diverse communities. Thank you so much, TD Bank, and thank you, Mike. I'm so pleased to present you.
Oh, thank you, Aimee, very much, and good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of all of us at TD Bank, it's our great pleasure to once again be the presenting sponsor of the Mayor's State of the Town Address. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Aimee and Chris for their leadership and the entire team at the West Hartford Chamber for continuing to provide programs to help and support small business. And with the changing dynamics of business, the economy, and the political landscape, it's critical that we continue to utilize and support our chambers and their leadership in economic growth and development, and providing real value and advisory services for members. As Chris said, and as we all know, this has been a year like no other in our personal and professional lives. I'd just like to take a couple of minutes to talk about what TD is doing in response to the pandemic, what we have learned, and also what we have also always done in regard to the social issues we saw in our country over the past years, with our continued commitment to diversity and inclusion. Across the US and Canada, TD has allocated $25 million to organizations engaged in COVID-19 response and community recovery. Locally, we have provided organizations such as LISC with a foundation grant for minority-owned small business relief, the Greater Hartford United Way with a grant for direct COVID relief, and organizations like the Children's Museum and UHeart, along with many others. One of the crucial lessons learned this year is that business dynamics and economic environment can change rapidly and without warning. The pandemic drove life to virtual channels at a much higher rate than ever before. And anyone who bought Zoom at 61 and watched it go to 560 in a year can relate. Unfortunately, I was not one of them. But at TD, we needed to adapt and change rapidly. And as many of you know, banks are not known to be the most nimble of industries, but we needed to be able to meet the needs of our customers and the changing economy. You know, when PPP was first announced a year ago, we literally changed all of our internal approval protocols, and over a weekend built a new platform that allowed us to process over 86,000 PPP loans nationally, with over 3,700 in Connecticut, providing Connecticut companies with over $365 million in much needed cash. This was all done online. One public service message I want to give is that the pandemic brought out the best in most people, but unfortunately, we also saw a significant increase in fraud. You know, the FBI has reported that business email compromise scams totaled over $26 billion. And the risk is even greater for companies and individuals using outdated technology. So the work from home environment has significantly altered business processes. We need to prepare for the new normal with adequate technology and proper controls. So our strong recommendation is that if you are a business that still uses paper checks and uses wires as part of your business, talk to your bank about fraud protection. Lastly, our continued focus on diversity and inclusion includes efforts that TD has made over the years. We have earned a score of 100% on the Diversity Equality Index for the 5th consecutive year. For the 10th consecutive year, we were named the best place to work for LGBT equality by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation. We were ranked one of the top 50 companies for diversity for the 7th year in a row by Diversity Inc. With all the pain the pandemic has caused, I'm convinced that good will come out of it. We learned from 9/11 what we needed to do to secure our physical plant security. We learned from the Great Recession how to shore up the financial services industry. And we learned from this pandemic how to effectively mobilize a remote workforce, develop and implement new technology, and plan for future events. Most importantly, we witnessed the power of business ingenuity and tenacity, which is why I'm confident that we will come out stronger. It is now my pleasure to introduce someone who has always been at the forefront of innovation, ingenuity, and tenacity, and has done an incredible job of balancing the needs of protecting our residents and supporting business during this pandemic. This goes as well in her personal life, as Shari was years ahead of everyone with her Peloton at home gym. I hope she bought the stock as well as the bike. But Shari Cantor is the mayor of West Hartford. She joined the town council in 2004 and served as deputy mayor from November 2011 through May 2016, when she became mayor. Shari has served on all internal town committees as deputy mayor and mayor. She's a registered CPA, and her work experience includes public accounting at PricewaterhouseCoopers and in the insurance industry at Cigna. Shari has served as a University of Connecticut trustee since 2013 and was just reappointed to her second six-year term. She is a West Hartford Rotarian, a member of the Board of Food Share, American School for the Deaf, the West Hartford League, and Connecticut's Children's Medical Center Foundation. She has been an honorary Gallup committee for the Hartford Symphony Orchestra for the past 3 years. Shari and her husband, Michael, were honored with the Torch of Liberty Award by the Anti-Defamation League in 2018. Shari was inducted into the University of Connecticut Business Hall of Fame in March 2017. She has been named a Malta Wonder Woman in 2016, Best Community Leader, Hartford Magazine, West Hartford Rotarian of the Year, and in 2011, Hartford Magazine put her on the best dressed list once again. Shari and Michael have been married for 35 years. They are parents of 4 young men and a daughter-in-law, Josh and Teresa, Sam, Ben, and Jacob. They have also had the rewarding experience of hosting 2 international exchange students from Israel and Germany who have become part of their family. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Shari Cantor.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am thrilled to be here. I wish we could be in person. Mike, thank you for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for your leadership throughout this pandemic. It's really been appreciated, and you have vision and innovation, and we're grateful to have you. And Aimee, thank you for your leadership and all you do for the Chamber. Of course, I want to thank the leadership of the Chamber and their board of directors, but led by Chris Conway, Executive Director, and Jesse Bouclier, Kate Kobe. We are so grateful for you putting this event together. It's not easy to do these virtual events. It takes a lot of organization and planning. Again, thank you to all the sponsors that Chris mentioned. And I want to also thank my colleagues who really have stepped in to meet this challenge. My fellow members on the town council, members of the Board of Education, and our state delegation and our federal delegation. Everybody has really stepped forward to, again, meet the challenge that is today. Thank you to our town staff for their incredible work. It has been a really phenomenal, it's really been impressive to watch everyone work together as a team, and all of those that contributed to this, to today's presentation. Town Manager Matt Hart, Superintendent of Schools Tom Moore, Acting Library Director Carol Waxman, Town Clerk Essie LeBreau, IT Director Jared Morin, Director of Leisure Services and Social Services Helen Rubino Turco, and Economic Development Coordinator Kristen Gorski, and Fire Chief Greg Priest. We also have our Police Chief Vernon Riddick, our Public Works Director, John Phillips, and John has been, as you know, out there, and his guys have been out there every other day clearing snow. That was late to come this year, but has made quite a show. So I also want to thank Renee McHugh. None of this would be possible without Renee. She is the center of all we do to communicate with our public, and there's nothing more important than keeping our public informed. Also want to give a very, very special thank you to WHCI for all of their work, and Jen Evans making so much available to our community, again, to keep them informed and connected. And a big thank you to my family. Some of them are watching. I don't know which one, so I don't know. I'm not going to call them out. But my husband, Michael, my mom, Rose Grano, who had 1 shot. She's going to be 93 this summer and is looking forward to her 2nd vaccine. My son, Josh, and daughter-in-law, Teresa. My sons, Sam and girlfriend, Viv, Ben and Trish, and my son, Jacob. Thank you all. All right, if we can make the slides. I don't know if are the slides going for the public? Are we all, no? We're gonna hold for the slides because this is This is important. Just a minute. All right, there we go. 2020 is a year like no other. I guess every 100 years we have to have a year like no other. But the weird thing about it, it just feels almost like Groundhog Day. It feels like either one long day or just this endless amount of time. But we know we see the light at the end of the tunnel. So we will get through this. And 2020 is off to a better start. It's still challenging, but it's off to a better start. Next slide. Okay. We're taking a moment to remember all of those we lost. Worldwide, there were 2.3 million deaths. In the United States, we're approaching 465,000 deaths. In Connecticut, 7,282 deaths, and West Hartford, 188 deaths. The United States represents 4% of the population, yet we represent 25% of the cases and also the deaths in in COVID. So we'll just take a reflective few seconds, please. Thank you so much. Shutting down. Here is the events that began to unfold very rapidly. In 228, the health district had been actively monitoring COVID-19. On 3/15, you can see me signing the declaration of the state of emergency, and the public schools closed the following day. Town hall closed with the town facilities as well. 3/19, we issued our first executive order prohibiting gatherings of 10 or more, followed by the governor's executive orders. First COVID case in West Hartford was on 3/20, and then 3/25, playgrounds, basketball courts closed. Our life was changing pretty rapidly. Shortages of basic needs, panic buying, and I have a prop. I now really do store a lot of toilet paper. Why was toilet paper on such a run? I don't know, but it was. And there was real panic. I mean, people really felt like there was a real challenge here. But I want you to look in this picture with the empty shelves. You might see somebody there that is might be showing up in the rest of the some of these slides. So let's see if you can count how many times you spot. Do you see Bernie with mittens and a mask? Let's see if you can spot number of Bernies, and the first person to chat the number of Bernies at the end of this slide to keep you engaged, I will buy you a gift card, $25 to your favorite restaurant. But again, we were experiencing many shortages throughout that time. I'm sure you all remember. We had a call for PPE donations. There was a real shortage, like many communities. So we wanted to make sure that our first responders had the tools they needed. We reached out to our community. Actually, there were a lot of people that stepped forward, searching their homes and businesses, and dropped off massive amounts of PPE. We had N95 masks, surgical masks, bleach, all different kinds of needs. Then we found new ways to stay in touch. This is my family. I think it was on my birthday, actually, the day after Christmas. And everybody came to. We had a little music, and it was a lot of fun. We also had, we gave this to our kids, talking about framing mediocre memories. There were some very good memories, but we all know that they're actually were encased in much anxiety. But we really did a lot. We went on a lot of walks. We really didn't think, I know all of us didn't think this would last a year, but we had a lot of difficult choices to make. Many businesses asked their employees to, This is a little picture of how we did some things reorganizing. You can see my husband sitting on the floor reorganizing some of our cabinets, the sidewalk chalk that looked like stained glass, the reservoir, people walking and hiking, twister games. We had game nights, and we suggested lots of activities for families to do. We had a song for West Hartford. There was so much that is so much richness in our community during these challenging months, and there still is. Town employees were working remotely. 50% now, we have people working 50% in person and 50% working remotely. We have our town manager, Matt Hart, our Carol Waxman. Next on the right is our children's librarian. We have Greg Summer. You can see Greg was very creative, putting his TV as his screen for engineering. We have Bob McHugh, Emergency Management Director. We have Silvana, Building Inspector, Dallas Dodge, Clerk Counsel, Renee McHugh, Public Relations, Lisa Mashad, and you can see Lisa with her Lysol ready to go. We have Bailey Berardino, our children's librarian, with her daughter Abigail, Essie LeBreau, Town Clerk, and Paula Kank, our pension specialist, all there working in a variety of locations, as you all know. Aimee Krauss was appointed health director. Wow, what a time to step in to be health director. She was replacing Steve Huliet, who retired in November 2020. She had been acting health director and then moved into the permanent slot. Steve is still with us. He's working for the Capital Region Council of Governments and is remaining a very valuable source of resource for us. Aimee is only the second director of the health district and the first woman to hold the role. And we are so grateful for the service she provides to 84,539 residents. It has been a really challenging time. Thank you, Aimee. Public health awareness. We all know we did not know how the virus would spread. We were getting various information. There was some confusion. The health district guided West Hartford with public information, most up-to-date CDC information, and also with our state DPH, Department of Public Health. And we knew the 3 W's, we just kept reinforcing them. Wear your mask, wash your hands, watch your social distancing. And we just kept repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. Stay home if you feel sick, seek medical attention, get tested. Again, this was the message we tried to keep our community safe by just repeating and to educate them on how this virus spread. In the cartoon character, the dog cone, you can see the person in the dog cone, and it says, in case you can't see, it's for you. The dog is saying, it's for your own good. Stop touching your face. So that was kind of a cute. Public health and awareness and education. We had cross-department commitment to educating our community and keeping them safe. We had a lot of people very concerned about people not wearing masks in public places initially. And there was, again, a lot of confusion and mixed messaging. We had a bicycle team that went to local parks and other areas of town, resulting in really positive community contacts. We have our paramedic firefighter, Kristen Fillion, apparatus operator, Thomas Bertelson, paramedic firefighter Rocco Ladodo, and Assistant Chief Hugh O'Callahan, Fire Inspector Marcia Adele, again, all contributing to keeping our community safe. Creative solutions. We did a lot of pivoting, as you all know, and you all did. We were one of the first towns in the state to go to a virtual town meeting. We had public hearings. Residents were invited to make comment. So that was we had a very open door and engaged public and really didn't miss much of a beat. And I really want to thank, again, Jen Evans for connecting us, making sure that there were various ways for people to connect. But also our Corporation Council really did so much to make sure that we were following all the rules to meet the public information criteria. On May 18th, we also formed 2 recovery teams that really flattened out our committee structure so we would have engagement by the public. And we did some very creative things out of those committees. We turned to our library to be the center of our communication. I always say that library is like the kitchen of the home. It's where people gather and listen to each other. And this is where we turned for our communication center. Public Works did a digital messaging board to encourage people to stay home and stay safe. We had banners on the green. We had light pole banners reminding people to wear a mask. And then, of course, the fire department, I don't know if you got one of these, but the wearing is caring buttons were adorable. And of course, our Everbridge advisory messages. Many people know about those Everbridge messages, and I did get some emails saying, stop. Other people saying, you're not doing it enough. But we tried to keep the public very, very informed in a rapidly changing world. Our first message was March 11th. With a rapidly changing situation, we really felt it was important to engage people bi-weekly. And then we started to back off a little as time went on. But you can't read the list probably, but there were 22 COVID-related messages and 6 related to power outages caused by Tropical Storm SAS. Business forums, as the chamber knows very well, we really tried to work together, the chamber along with our economic development department, to educate and inform businesses. We worked with our delegation to message what was needed and to help to have them understand the needs of businesses. The communications were going back and forth very quickly, and we hope that you felt informed and connected during these times. We did some support Eat Local, Win Local, the town of West Hartford, the Chamber of Commerce to support our restaurants. That's okay. I'll just say one more thing about the Eat Local, Win Local. We had 251 people that participated and raised $17,000 over $17,000. And that was only for a little over a month. So that was pretty impressive. Okay. Building inspection customer service. Our building inspection turned to their, had a window that became their service center. This expedited permits. We also had an awning. The window functions. It's open Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 p.m. The library had pivoted, like I said, they became our center of communication, but then they began to function as a traditional, untraditional library. In fact, doing curbside appointments, browsing through materials for people, connecting so many people and answering their questions. They continue to offer services, and I really have been a lifeline for people without a connectivity, or not so much not being connected as having difficult connecting, whether that be language or some other reasons, or in a crowded home. They also have done partnerships with social services, Fern Street Universalist Church, to support our community in a variety of ways. That in May 2020, the library staff knew they needed a creative way, so they had hold materials and delivered them. We have provided 23,000 curbside pickups since June 2020. Users have told us they love the service, and it will be probably something that will be a keeper. We also cannot, as we know, as we are seeing today, we cannot gather as we did, but we don't want to stop celebrating and connecting. So we did a Stroll Your Own Way, a townwide holiday celebration, a virtual Memorial Day, virtual art show, high school artwork. We did a slow roll bicycle event from park to park. We did a Run Apart, Give Together, Celebrate West Hartford Fund Run. Get that? Halloween drive-through trick-or-treating. So there was a lot to do and a lot that connected our community. We did a virtual celebration of Martin Luther King Day. We did a library's New Year's Eve dance party, rooftop drive-in movie nights on Memorial Garage featuring Elf and Santa Claus. Westmore's Parks picnic it was at home, takeout boxes. Westmore Park's dedication of its new outdoor classroom, and the drive-in Hanukkah fire and ice celebration. We made town hall as safe as we could be, and schools as safe as they could be, using plexiglass partitions, and doing all we can to keep things going. And election. Election, and I want to give an extra thank you. I know Essie and her staff are watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We had an 86.37% turnout for our election. We were the second highest. The highest was Greenwich at 86.39%. If 9 more people had voted, we would have had the highest percentage in the state. That's pretty impressive. Greenwich has less population, so we actually had more people voting. But anyway. Social distancing, and very important, this was so important, 51% of all votes were cast by absentee ballot. And West Hartford had the second highest number of absentee ballots, second to Stanford, actually. Election drop box worked so well. They put a drop box in front of town hall so residents can drop off documents instead of relying on the US mail or scheduling in-person appointments. So that's something that ended up staying with us. Customers may leave land recordings, vital record requests, and various requests for licenses and other documents in a safe and secure manner. And this is a 24/7 availability. So this really was a great success. Thank you again. Digital land records. The town clerk's office opened its land records portal so that the public could access images and indexes for land records free of charge. Through this portal, they had the ability to do title searches, access documents, and make their own copies without having to come to town hall. Then, of course, there's all the creative ways we connected with Zoom. Leisure Services did a lot of work with interviewing college students to come and help staff and to keep things going. Our special needs division utilized Zoom to engage participants in virtual dance and bingo sessions, as well as adaptive Zumba. We will use these virtual platforms to keep residents engaged and secure and active. West Hartford Leisure Services joined forces with various businesses and community groups to conduct programs such as family yoga in the parks, park-to-park bike rides, or senior centers twice weekly email communications to promote virtual programs and keep them connected, as well as the occasional in-person events. The senior centers did a walking group with nearly 75 intrepid members who walked in a different West Hartford park together every week, but apart, right? And incidentally, 80% of our population in West Hartford lives within 10 minutes of a park. Rounds of golf were at an all-time high. That has been a national trend, actually. And then one of our big successes, I think you all know about, was transforming our streets into really gardens of eating. And it was an incredible success. And I want to thank all of our staff for stepping in. We talk about a government of possibilities instead of a government of probabilities. And this was one of those examples, making these things happen so fast, transforming from, the day, the night, flowers, umbrellas, lights. It was just beautiful. What a difference, right? And then it was not difficult. We can go to the map slide. It was not difficult. We started, with a pretty rapid idea generation, multi-departments getting together to figure out how do we do this quickly. And we pivoted and we're up and running very, very quickly to support our fabulous restaurants. West Hartford Public Schools, the gem in our crown. 316 schools closed. Not a day went by without children being able to get meals. And that is, I get choked up when I think about it. The amount of support that the schools provided and the awareness of what they needed to do before they closed and on the day they closed, making sure there were grab-and-go meals on that day. The first day, there were grab and go meals, I think 320 lunches that first day. And then they did lunch and breakfast bags, 200 volunteers assisted grab and go sites. We utilized van service and rides so kids could get the food. In July and August, we distributed 16,000 meals. And September through January, 220,600 meals were distributed. And I did this quote, if we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction. The schools pivoted to remote and hybrid learning. 1,300 laptops were delivered and distributed in week 1. Within 5 days, West Hartford Public Schools had virtual learning up and running. 3,200 Chromebooks were deployed for students to use. IT reallocated resources from another grant to fund purchase of Chromebooks so no kid would go without. I want to give a special shout out to Jared Morin, Director of Information and Technology for West Hartford Public Schools and the town of West Hartford, and all of his staff for their incredible work to support families and children in schools. There was so much to get this going. It seems rather seamless now, but it really was a Herculean task. And for health and safety reasons, 16% of West Hartford families chose remote schooling exclusively for their child. Tom Moore and his amazing team went to work and essentially created a brand new elementary school, which became the largest in the district in 6 weeks. October elementary schools in person full-time. Middle schools and high schools continue 1 week in person and 1 week at home. West Hartford is the largest school district in the state in keeping kids in school. I really am so grateful for every teacher, every administrator, every staff person that works in the school system, our custodians, everybody that has helped to keep our kids safe. And this quote, "Anyone who does anything to help a child in his life is a hero to me, Mr. Rogers." And then we have music. Music was one of the highlights in our schools. And this is a beautiful, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to listen, but it is beautiful if you can. Another great success of celebrating this remarkable time in our students' life was drive-in graduation. This was at the Farmington Polo Grounds. It was a great, great success. And then there were parades for graduates, and I think this would be a wonderful way to continue to celebrate our graduates and send them off to their next chapter in their lives. We worked regionally with a partnership with Krauss to set up a regional distribution. When they were looking for a town to host it, our Public Works Director, John Phillips, said, "We're going to do this." And so we became the Greater Hartford distribution. So 41 towns, the distribution came out of our area from our Public Works Department. Every week from April to August, millions of pieces of personal protection equipment were unloaded at Brixton Street site: gloves, gowns, masks, face shields, and disinfectant, all to long-term health facilities, EMS, and local health departments. And then after that, we went into, we would then distribute to our health district and then PPE to doctors, dentists, restaurants, businesses with our 2 towns. So this was a multitask event. And we were the first town, and maybe the only town. On May 8th, we entered into a collaboration with Jackson Lab to do our own COVID testing for our staff. The turnaround was within 12 to 24 hours. The results, we weren't blocking or backing up other testing sites. This became a model for the state, and it really helped us manage our staff to eliminate overtime, to make them available and keep them, not only their staff, but their families safe. We also provided, we partnered with a drive-in testing sites. We also still offer free COVID testing, walk-up testing from 9 to 4 at Elmwood every Tuesday. This is, again, free with intercommunity healthcare, and all you need to do is bring an insurance card, but nobody will be denied. And then our giving community kept giving blood. With other regional and local sites closed, the American Red Cross was in urgent need of additional resources. So we were bestowed the Outstanding Service Award to the town of West Hartford for stepping up during this time. Not only did we whole drives that many people weren't doing, but we actually increased our drives. We had 35 blood drives and collected about 1,400 units of blood. And the director of the American Red Cross wrote, "Thank you very much for your ongoing dedication to the American Red Cross. Every day, I am deeply moved by the kindness and generosity of spirit you bring to our vital mission. But it's times like these of great uncertainty that I'm truly in awe of your unwavering commitment." And there were many, many collaborations. And one of the real stars is the West Hartford Arts and Culture Collaborative. Imagine how theaters, ballet, some art, museums closed on a dime, our Noah Webster House. Everything had to be reimagined and re-envisioned. So this group came together, supported each other. They have a beautiful website now if you haven't been on. And this is a collaboration between the grant that the Art League received and had artists do our bus stops so they can be seen from any location, collaborating with the ballet theater company. It was a beautiful collaboration again, and we are so lucky to have these talented, committed people. The Playhouse on Park did virtual plays. They did a Bobby's Last Crusade. I don't know if you saw it. It was phenomenal. They did the Christmas Truce, All is Calm from 1914, World War I. And upcoming is Elliot and Amanda, All Alone from Noel Coward's Private Lives. So they kept going. So this, I want you to look at this. More is coming. And as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I'm going to say about that. Supporting our residents in unity. West Hartford Food Pantry saw double the number of monthly food bag distributed during the first 9 months of the pandemic. Regardless of weather, the West Hartford Food Pantry shifted distribution operations outdoors to the front patio, and they had the tent. Each week, residents had the option of picking up bags of food at 3 different 2-hour time slots. They extended its program to include additional bags of toiletry items and cleaning supplies. The food pantry intends to continue this extra bag program going forward. I also want to thank Food Share and our own Jason Jakubowski for his leadership and support. It has been beyond the need, and Food Share has rallied to do all they can. I also want to congratulate Jason on the new Food Share and Connecticut Food Bank merger. And with his leadership, I know we will be able to serve all the residents of Connecticut in a very, very efficient and effective way. Our social workers adapted quickly to remote work. They provided vital services via phone, virtual meetings, and when necessary, face-to-face outside in a variety of settings. Social services provides energy assistance and rental rebates, and they were able to operate without in-person contact. Throughout the generosity of West Hartford residents, we were able to assist with increased need in the community. This is me with the mayor of Bloomfield, Suzette Brown, delivering boxes, farmer boxes to our residents. We had hundreds and hundreds of families that needed it. We got our first round of vaccines up and running with 1 day notice. We were told December 23rd that we were going to be getting vaccine. By the next day, we started vaccinating our first responders. Beginning today, actually, we began vaccinating those people 65 and older. One of the reasons I'm not in town hall is because they're having their largest clinic today. This Monday, February 8th, we opened our vaccine information line. This is a collaborative effort but housed in our library and answered by our library staff, support from social services, the health department, the fire department. And this is a real asset to our community. For people that are concerned and need some help, they can pick up the line and call somebody. Also on Wednesday, February 10th, West Hartford started its first mobile vaccines. This was yesterday. We had distributed 1 vial of 10 vaccines to homebound residents. This is something that we will continue to do on a weekly basis. And I want to thank the fire department as well as the health department for their collaboration in making this happen. We are the first community to do this. We also immediately, we can go to the next slide. opened tax relief. We were the first community to adopt the tax relief program that the governor had allowed us to do via executive order. We happened to have a council meeting that day, so we were the first, but we still were. We supported our businesses by encouraging people to get gift cards and gift certificates when dining wasn't an option, and even takeout was challenging. The town of West Hartford continues to offer short-term parking for pickup throughout West Hartford and Blueback Square. Chamber of Commerce and the town's economic development offered virtual programs to keep businesses informed, and the restaurants really needed a lot of support and still need our support and our love. COVID relief programs for businesses, many of you know firsthand. I mean, the delay of payment of employer payroll taxes, emergency economic injury grant, employee retention credit, paycheck protection program, all of those things were communicated through the chamber and Kristen Gorski, our economic development coordinator, and hope you found all of this supportive and helpful. 2020 was a year of raising awareness and consciousness for sure. Listening and being really having our eyes opened to things that we needed to pay. We all need to pay attention to. We officially recognized Juneteenth, June 19th, and we will make this a permanent holiday and celebration. This is America's second Independence Day and commemorates June 1865, when the last enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, were informed of their emancipation 2 years after Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This summer, Goodman Green will be renamed Unity Green. We all raised our voices and took a knee at rallies for Black Lives Matter. We had community discussions that started with our police chief, Vernon Riddick, on police accountability and community policing and the importance of accountability. And our police and our leadership have been incredibly supportive, and we have a really caring community, and we're all lucky and better for it. Supporting healthcare workers and first responders. We had hearts everywhere, and we know that these healthcare workers, that many of them are protected now and vaccinated, were putting their health on the line daily. Nadoro Group sold heart lawn signs for $20, which funded meals for healthcare workers and put chefs to work. It was a great collaboration. We had people ringing bells, building up that community support, ringing bells for first responders, healthcare workers, and all of the essential workers that kept our life going during these challenging months. We're stronger now and going to be stronger coming out of this. Connecticut ranks 4th in the country for total vaccinations, and West Hartford has distributed one of the highest vaccines in the state. I will notice my mom on the right was getting her first vaccine, and she said that was great with her first vaccine. The other is the first vaccine from the residents at oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank now. Oh my God. Anyway, that was the first vaccine for healthcare workers, nursing homes. Highlights. We all know that and we've heard the fact that people are leaving some urban centers for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is the ability to work remotely. And West Hartford has been so successful in attracting New Yorkers. And I think it's the walkability and the ability to have a high quality of life and still have wonderful, wonderful amenities. We have a hot real estate market, as is true in much of Connecticut. 96% of our homes sold over 95% of list price. 89% sold within 90 days of listing, and the median price was up 15%. Days on the market are 47% down from last year, as well as the supply is also down because those houses are going quickly. We have 1.35 month supply, and I think realtors know what that means. It's a little bit of supply, but this has opened up a lot of opportunities. Just in 2020, West Hartford was the only town or city in Connecticut named as the best city for remote workers by Zippia, and the best city to find a job in Connecticut. And for 3 years in a row, we were named the best place to live in Connecticut, according to Niche, one of top 5 places in Connecticut to achieve work-life balance by Zippia. We also took first place, our city, I'm very proud of this, in the U.S. Conference for Mayors Climate Protection Award for our virtual net metering program from a solar farm in Thomaston, Connecticut. And I would like to thank Catherine Davini for her leadership and her commitment to keeping us as energy efficient and as energy responsible as we can be. And lastly, we became 100% renewable by purchasing all of our energy from renewable sources from 2019 to 2020. We established some new things this year. It's been busy. We have a sustainability task force that's primary purpose will be to assist in preparation of the town's Sustainable Connecticut application, but also to support and raise awareness of the value that sustainability brings to all areas of our community. A secondary reason for establishing the task force was to access and make recommendations to the town on future events. So we have commissions and task force that are going to work together to make sure that we're focused on really meeting our sustainability goals. We think it will be about 20 individuals that will be appointed by the town manager. I don't know how far Matt is into the process, but if you're interested, you should contact him. We also have established a technical advisory group on affordable housing. West Hartford's share of deed restricted affordable housing. We have more affordable housing, but are deed restricted. That means that it is either government financed, a rental assistance, or a CHFA is 7.5%. The guidelines for the state is they want everybody at 10%, every community at 10%. And so we're looking at how we can effectively do that. We have almost 2,000 deed restricted affordable units in West Hartford. And we'll be developing an affordability plan, which will help with determining what our needs are and how we can accomplish this goal. Development will be also including a townwide housing needs assessment. We will be reviewing ordinances to identify potential areas for modification and creating opportunities that increase availability of housing types and affordability levels. We have a new partnership with the Interval House that does incredible work with domestic violence victims with our West Hartford Police Department. They've partnered with, funded by a grant program, to embed an advocate to be able to support and assist domestic violence victims. And we do know that there has been an increase with all the stresses that are happening in our world right now. As I mentioned before, the Commission on the Arts, we reestablished a formal commission on the arts, not beyond the collaborative of arts and culture, and they are collaborating, creating and innovating to make our community a more beautiful and rich community in culture. West Hartford had a commission in 1986, but it really wasn't active. So this will be an active community. I'm sure you're going to hear wonderful things coming out of that group. We reestablished a fair rent commission to make sure that people are treated fairly and safely. The impact of COVID has also had an impact on many people that rent. We actually just on Tuesday night adopted a civilian review board. We had a civilian review board, but it was actually largely staffed by police department, and this one is completely staffed by civilians. So this was something that the state police accountability legislation adopted, allowing communities to do that. Again, we already had it. We just felt it needed to be more reflective of civilian review. So I've already received, I think, a handful of people interested in this. So if you are, please contact our you can, contact me, but go through the town clerk to formally submit a resume and a cover letter on your interest in this department. They will be responsible for reviewing internal investigation of all complaints received by the police department. Then we also established accessory dwelling units. After years of consideration and extensive rewriting of proposed ordinances, some call them granny flats or in-law apartments, we have made them legal. Now, we knew we had some and some are grandfathered in, but this is something that we know our community wanted and allows an ability to age in place, grow in place, options for family members, additional income streams for property owners, and those who are struggling to hold on to and maintain their homes. We also think it will provide some grandless growth. And zoning change was needed, and this was done just recently. And we've already had, I think within 2 weeks of adopting the ordinance, we have 5 applications now, or 5 letters of interest and 2 applications, something like that. We also had bridge construction on North Main Street, and North Main Street has been a source of safety concerns for our police department, public works department, engineering department for years. It is a 4-lane highway, and if my son Sam is listening, he did get a speeding ticket on that road. If people go too fast, it's a residential road, and it's very tight, 4 lanes. So we're looking at a 3-lane configuration, and we'll probably try that out for a period of time and see how it goes, and make sure that any diversion is handled in a comprehensive way. We also are working on a Mayor's Youth Advisory Council to engage and promote solutions and engagement again with our youth. We hope this is something that we can spread throughout Connecticut. Connecticut doesn't have youth commissions. Many states do, partly because of our commission structure. Commission members need to be electors, and it's challenging to have electors, and you'd have to have 18-year-olds. So we're working on in this advisory council format, and we think this will be a great addition and a great way for youth to contribute. And then, as Chris mentioned earlier, welcome to West Hartford. And why West Hartford? We just established a flip book. It's an electronic booklet that was created to attract and welcome new residents to town. It's a 20-page booklet that has information on the schools, town services, business districts, arts, culture, and special events. And now we're developing a Why West Hartford tourism website, a collaboration with the Chamber and the town of West Hartford, a new tourism website that will be created to promote, attract, and talk about the attractions that we have of entertainment, dining, retail, businesses, and the great quality of life that we have here. The tourism page will fill a gap that has been much needed. There's a lot of, even prospective college students from either University of St. Joseph's or the University of Hartford have asked for this. We are expected completion by late spring. We have I'll go quickly through some budget components, but we have some FEMA grants that we are waiting on from SAS, and then also from COVID relief, $1 million in COVID relief, and about $600,000 from SAS. We also know that there are health department costs that we are expecting that will be reimbursed. We're hopeful for that. We had a wonderful 99.3% collection rate on our property taxes, which was a real plus. And I think that was partially allowing the flexibility. And we had grandless growth of just under 50%, 0.5%. Some of that was a little delayed, I think, because permits were a little slow in the beginning, and we expect that to increase for this next year. But it's also a revaluation year. We also authorized the issuance of pension obligation bonds. This is something that I've talked about in the past, that we have $365 million of legacy costs. These are past service costs that the town has and then we have to meet this obligation. We are underfunded because of a variety of things, some assumptions, some were that we took a pension holiday for over a decade, and a variety of reasons. But this is a vehicle, a financial vehicle for us to save our taxpayers approximately $140 million over 30 years. And we think it will be more realistically $200 million. We also started to look at stormwater and infrastructure changes that we need to make. And we were approved for a grant for $8 million for our infrastructure in some areas near Trout Brook, which has been a cause of concern for many homeowners. We have an infrastructure system that is pretty amazing: 13 bridges, 8,000 drainage structures, and 180 miles of pipe. So this is something we're focused on and working on. Economic vitality. Look at this. You wouldn't know that we're in a pandemic, but we had 61 new businesses opened despite the pandemic. And there probably are others that are not on this list. But we had 9 at Bishop's Corner, 7 at Park Road, 5 at Corbin's Corner, 8 in Elmwood, 9 at New Park Avenue, and 28 at Blueback Square and West Hartford Center. We also had residences that were added. We had residents at Berkshire Road that we just approved in November. Those are 26 unit apartments. 2 units will be designated as workforce housing. This is by Pratt Street LLC. We had One Park, our largest single development approval, 294 units on the corner of Park Road and Prospect. 36 units are reserved for the remaining order of the Sisters of St. Joseph. And this is a mix of historic preservation and new construction. And there are also 10% of those units or 30% are at 80% of AMI affordable housing for 20 years. This is a $66 million investment and expected to break ground this year. And then 540 New Park just announced completed their financing for a 52 unit mixed income, mixed use housing development that's a $20 million investment and also expected to break ground this spring. Very exciting on our transportation corridor. And then Ringgold Estates, this is the former Patrici site. We have a 25 unit townhome development that just sold all of their units as of November, very rapidly and at no decrease in prices. So really exciting. We've got a lot going on. We've been through a lot and we have a lot going on. And so in these past 11 months have been, as we know, disorienting, disruptive, and challenging. We don't know what is ahead, but we do know one thing for sure. We've changed. We're different. We're already reimagining, rethinking, reckoning, and we really hope soon to be reuniting and remembering these challenges we all faced together, although each of us in a unique way. We are reminded of how interconnected we are in this world, from supply chains, communication, technology, travel, and this shared experience, which is so rare, of a global pandemic. We know that this past year, our strength has been in adapting to this health, economic, and social crisis. The businesses that have been most successful have been those that have been nimble and creative. Now, as we think about how to incorporate some of the new and evolving strategies and technologies that have helped us get through this year, we need strategic foresight. Foresight that is not about predicting the future. As we have learned, that's really not possible, but it is preparing for the future. As we have been forced to do, we need to challenge the status quo, think broadly, collaboratively, recognize our weaknesses, and capitalize on our strengths. I have incorporated some points in this part of this closing section of this presentation by a really thoughtful article in Forbes by Mary Meehan on the future has changed. Whether we like it or not, there are serious divisions in our society, and our national leaders are talking about that now. An MIT study reported that a false story reaches 1,500 people 6 times faster than a true story. Stay true to your consumer, she says, your audience and your brand connecting with the fundamental values that define all of us. Stay true. Despite cruel and systemic inequality, America is a country of immense privilege and opportunity. This pandemic has been a test of character amid devastating loss, confounding uncertainty. There was an outpouring of support, as we saw in the slideshow, of healthcare workers, first responders, and the many essential workers that kept our lives moving. We had record numbers of volunteers that help feed and support those in need. Americans voted in record numbers despite health concerns. Streets expanded for everyone, not just cars. We have connected virtually in people's kitchens, libraries, closets, and laundry rooms, which I've told had great acoustics. We have seen and heard our colleagues, customers, and teachers. We have seen people's children, we've seen their pets, and we've heard them too. We have seen the most creative concerts, art, recipes, and ways to lift each other up. These kindnesses and optimism will not be forgotten. We have all gained an authenticity that we will hold on to and value. It will help guide our choices and behavior, and businesses, again, that are aware of that and capture that will be successful. We have a new perspective as business owners, increased responsibility for the health and well-being of our workforce and patrons, and an increased appreciation for those customers, especially those loyal customers. We value, and consumers, we value our local businesses and how hard they work, and we don't take them for granted. They mean so much to us, more than ever. It shows how much we need each other. Customers and consumers are looking to companies that are tackling the issues of the day, protecting our environment and fostering social justice. ESG, environment, social governance, is now guiding many strategic planning playbooks. As is convenience, access, and empowerment, all of those pieces together. Lily Traeger, an investment strategist in charge of Morgan Stanley Wealth Management's Investing with Impact program, said racial equity matters because achieving balance in representation, empowerment, and economic opportunity is material to financial outcomes. It makes sense. The pandemic gave us space, the space to appreciate our physical world again. We need nature, and nature needs us to understand how important it is to us. We went walking and hiking, running and cycling. We went stargazing and planted gardens. We felt the cycles of the day, the light and the night. We had the opportunity to notice and be visited by all sorts of wildlife. We baked and we cooked. We realized how much we throw away. We have made garages a gathering place with the door open. And again, we feel the renewed commitment to buy local and support the businesses that we cherish. Businesses that share these values will tap into the market that does too. We have seen the extraordinary power, impact, and value of technology, and also some of the downside. But imagine if we didn't have these tools. Staying connected with work, family, and friends. We shared entertainment from The Tiger King, Queen's Gambit, The Crown, The Last Dance. That's the Michael Jordan documentary. If you haven't seen it, you should. And of course, the superhuman Tom Brady with his 7th Super Bowl win at 43 years old. And then our UConn freshman phenom, Paige Beckers, winning the 3-point shot that hit the back of the rim and went way high, beating number 2 University of South Carolina, putting UConn in the number 1 spot. If you haven't seen it, you should get that on YouTube. We shopped and ordered from our favorite restaurants and had drivers deliver and walk away so they wouldn't be putting our lives at risk. The e-commerce shift has accelerated with raises, which raises the expectation and demands of the consumer. We need to face this reality, plan for it, and make sure we make accommodations for it. And finally, we've all had to leave a lot behind in 2020. So many loved ones lost, valued life events of which we had planned and counted on and looked forward to that were lost, communities that have been changed forever. We have events that have brought us together and other events that have torn us apart. We have not been able to hug loved ones as we mourned family and friends. We have had virtual holidays, drive-through birthdays, and graduations. We have had life-changing decisions to make. When do we schedule our wedding? Do I go back to college? Do I go to college? And the not so life-changing, do I really need a haircut? Acknowledging the loss and helping to rebuild with optimism and strength is a potent loyalty and brand builder. Every business has its own role in the local and wider community. Consumers will be taking notice. We are in the final chapter of this year of loss, horror, and change, but we have a renewed and deeper understanding what a gift it is to be alive and to be with ones we love. Each of you have made significant sacrifices, lost sleep, and worked hard to get through this year to support your employees and make your business vibrant and successful. Thank you for your commitment and for supporting each other. We are grateful to be part of this resilient, strong, innovative, welcoming, and caring community. And I wish you all good health and strength. And I really look forward to seeing you in person soon. Next slide. So how many Bernies did you spot? If you put it in the chat, and we will have record of this, the first person to put it in the chat, I will give you $25 to your famous gift certificate to your famous restaurant. Favorite restaurant, sorry, and famous maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining the chamber today, joining me today, listening to my remarks, and now we will go to any questions.
Great, Mayor. Thank you very much. Just let me get them up as I have to sift through people guessing their Bernies.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. This is from Natalie Mendez. Absolutely outstanding work by Mayor Cantor. Thank you for everything you do. My question, can you talk a bit about the equity initiatives in the West Hartford Public Schools, how we're planning the new mandate that Black and Latino studies be available as an elective beginning in the 2021 school year?
Actually, that's a better question for the Board of Education, and I know that they are committed to this initiative, and I have received some information on it, but I do feel like that should be a question for the superintendent and the Board of Education. Thank you.
Okay. Fair enough. We will get Natalie that information.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just have to keep going through these. Lots of votes.
So did anybody guess the right one? Do we have an early guess of the right one? Do we have a winner?
Renee, I believe, has the final count. I do have one more. This is from an anonymous attendee. Racial and economic disparities continue to impact the outcomes of our residents. What steps has the town taken to close the divide?
So there's a lot of things. I mean, as well as Natalie's question, there has been a lot of focus on the school system. I just can't speak specifically, as I'm not the policy maker and or the governing board of the schools. We actually are the pocketbook of the schools. It's a lot starts with the schools, but so much is being done in, we are, as I told you, talking about affordable housing. We work very closely with our West Hartford Housing Authority to make sure that we are continuing to build and plan for that. We've established this task force to do a housing inventory. We are really working on transportation to make sure that we have of availability and affordability for that. That's sort of the affordability issues. We are the ADUs was something that people talk about as an affordability option that helps both people that are in homes and that being a supportive, either support or someone that's renting, that is an option that they might not have had. The fair rent commission, I think that's an important addition as well. And then, it's really the social component of racial justice. We obviously, I told you about the Citizens Review Board for police oversight, so civilians can see and have trust and faith in their police department. And I think civilians do, but we will have this formal process. But then also social and collaboration of social justice initiatives like Juneteenth, Martin Luther King celebrations that we do. The new unveiling, I think you'll be really pleased about this, that we've partnered with Connecticut Mural and Sustainable CT for a social justice initiative too, as well. And also, the commitment of sustainability, that has multi-prongs. And that's something that we're engaging in and committed to as well. So all of those things, it's got to be part and woven into every decision we make and everything we do as a town and community. I will say the library has done great work with non-English speakers to support and make sure they have all the resources they need. That's been a real commitment from on the town side as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. As I'm just getting through back to it, it looks like, so as Renee tells me, the correct answer was 13. And the first person who responded to that, unfortunately, doesn't have a name on it, but it's RXLIRJO. So we'll find out who that is, and we'll get that taken care of.
Excellent. Okay, think about your favorite restaurant, and I will get you that gift card.
Great. Okay. Oh, okay. It's Resi from People's Bank. So we know Resi. We'll get her hooked up.
All right. Great. Thank you.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Mayor Cantor. I just want to just go back and say that at the beginning I talked about the proactive and reactive responses of the town, and I don't know that you could have better illustrated that through this presentation. It was nothing short of incredible, the work that the town has done to support our community this year. So on behalf of the chamber, I want to thank you for that. And also just remind you that, you know, moving forward, as we've always been, the chamber is here to be a partner in any of the efforts that the town takes to better serve our community.
Thank you. We're so grateful for all that you do.
Thank you. I guess at this point we are it out. And I just want to again our presenting sponsor, TD Bank, our gold sponsors, UHY Advisor, Macaulay, our silver sponsors, the American School for the Deaf and Crystal Restoration Services of Connecticut, our technology sponsor, Well Bank, and our media sponsor, 20 Media 20. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And like many of us, I hope next year we are all together for this presentation so we can enjoy a good meal together. Thank you and be safe.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Yay.